Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson, and you are watching my 100% walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for Nintendo Wii. So not too long ago we went to the Sealed Temple and fought the Imprisoned for the second time, and then we went on a little quest to go find out more about the Triforce. We spoke with the Sky Spirit Levias, and he told us to come back to the different regional areas. So the next time you go to Faron, now this could be right away or it could be a little later. I think most players probably go to Faron first just because that's the order we did stuff in for the temples in general, but that's the order I'm going to be following for this. You could technically do them in any order though. But anyways, the next time you return to Faron, you will immediately have another Imprisoned battle. Now, it is kind of weird though. You talk with Granny and she's like, the Triforce, yep, and then she just like doesn't say anything else. So it's kind of vague. There's not really a super firm indication that you need to head to out here, the sealed grounds, but this is where you need to go. And as soon as you exit either through the doors or you sail down to, or you fly down to that bird statue that is out here, if you unlock that one, then you will be able to initiate this little cutscene in which Groose runs up to you and he says that the steel is weakening already. It is kind of weird, like we just fought this guy like less than half an hour ago and we're already facing him again. But actually at this point in Skyward Sword the game actually forks and you can go, we're just looking for the 3 dragons, so we need to go to Faron, Eldin, and Lanayru, and you can do them in any order. Now I'm going in the order of what the first 3 dungeons were in the game, so we went to Skyview and then Earth Temple and then Lanayru Mining Facility, so I'm doing them in the same order as that, just because it feels right, you know, it's traditional. And you know, this is a walkthrough, I'm trying to keep everything as traditional as possible. But yeah, you can do them in any order. I would recommend though, as a comment, that you save Lanayru for last. There actually is a way you can do Lanayru first, but if you're not careful and you don't know what you're doing, you could actually break your game and ruin your save file and be unable to complete the rest of the game. So that's a problem. So if you save Lanayru for last, there's no way that glitch will happen, so that's one of my reasonings for doing this. Anyways, if you did one of the other areas first, there would be definitely some space in between the 2 Imprisoned battles, but because I did Faron first, we were fighting the Imprisoned right away. So here we go with Imprisoned 3. Hey! Alright, in Imprisoned 3, one of the first things you'll notice right away is that the boss moves significantly faster. The feet stomp down very quickly, so we don't have a lot of time. So I highly recommend you take out one of the feet as soon as possible. Here I was curious if the claw shots did any damage to it. I didn't expect it to, but just thought I'd test it real quick. So yeah, the best option is definitely the bow. So you just want to stand back and you use the C button to charge up attacks. You can actually move in front of the boss pretty far, and then start using your bow, and that way you can hit all of the toes in front, and that works pretty good. So my usual strategy is I like to take care of one foot at a time because then the boss moves significantly slower and there's not any shockwaves from that side. Next, what I did is I got up on the platform and I noticed that I'm on the side where the foot is that's injured, so I'm not going to get smacked off like that. But then I went ahead and used the Groosinator, which is now finally charged, so now I'm up here on the platform to go ahead and start attacking the toes. Now the Groosinator does not stun him very long anymore, so we don't really have a lot of time. You'll notice there I only managed to destroy 2 toes before the boss woke up, so I didn't actually have a lot of time. Again, if you are concerned with how close you are to the boss, then just back up a little bit and use the bow instead to take care of that final toe. A single charge shot will take care of 1 toe. Now technically another strategy you can use is to use bombs. Now bombs do decent damage. I think it might even take 2 bombs to defeat a toe though, but if you use bombs in the front anyways and then smack them with your sword at the right time, then they will explode. So you'll take damage that way, you'll guaranteed take damage, but you'll blow up 3 toes at once. So if you use the bow in the back and then use bombs in the front, you could end up destroying the toes pretty easily. But again, the way to guarantee that they explode at the right time is to smack them with your sword. It is a little bit tricky because the boss is stomping down on you, so you have to make sure you smack your own bombs a little bit before the boss ever attacks. Anyways, it can be a problem. So yeah, as you see, the boss is now flying, which that's a problem. So luckily though, the Groosinator will recharge immediately, which is pretty cool. We just used the Groosinator and he already recharges for this phase. So just immediately switch to the Groosinator, get in position. What I like to do is wait till the targeting reticle is a little bit above the boss and then shoot. So that way, because the boss is still rising up in the air, you don't want to aim towards the bottom of the boss because the boss is still rising, you might end up having your bomb miss. If it does miss, then you're probably not going to be able to hit him in time, because it takes a little while for the Groosinator to recharge. Anyways, smack the boss. This will cause him to fall down to the very bottom, and he'll actually fall right to the center no matter where he is, which is actually pretty cool. So, do that, then run to the center and hit the ceiling spike just like you normally would. Alright, so at this point, Groose is now out of bombs, so we need to figure out some way to deal with this. You need to run all the way up there and get to Groose as soon as possible. The boss actually moves very quickly. We do not have a lot of time at all. At this point, what I should have done is I should have used my map. I thought I was on the opposite side of the arena, actually, so I was working my way to the right to get closer to Groose, and it turns out I was going the complete opposite direction, which is bad. If I had been taking the left air geysers instead, I would have appeared right next to him. So once you finally meet up with Groose, he'll tell you to climb into the catapult itself, and he'll launch you at the boss, which is actually great because it gets us right to the ceiling spike, and I don't think the boss can actually shake you off either, so you're just safe on top of its head. Like, normally when he's walking around, he can shake you off, and then you'll fall down. But in this case, you actually have more than enough time to do so. So as long as you got up here quick enough, you should be fine. Just climb into the catapult, and then use Groose to maneuver your way over to the boss. Now, what I'd recommend you do is you want to aim with your Wiimote until, like, the little circle, whatever, is a little bit above the boss's head. Like there, I was almost, like, a little bit too low, and it was a little bit scary. But if the boss is still moving upwards, you do need to make sure you account for that a little bit. And that is the third Imprisoned battle. Honestly, I think it's quite a bit easier than the second battle, really, but the first part is awful. That part's really hard and really fast. You don't have a lot of time at all. The stuns don't last very long. He moves very quickly. He steps very fast. Those shockwaves are just really brutal to try and get up close to. So yeah, if you're struggling with this boss, use the bow for all the toes. But yeah, pretty easy boss. I suppose the only other thing worth mentioning, is just the whole targeting mechanic might be a little bit confusing to people that aren't used to that type of gameplay, I suppose. I played a lot of video games, so like those kind of mechanics, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, I know what to do here, it's fine. I can see how players might be confused if they're just not used to that type of thing. Like, that's how it is for like shooting guns and stuff like that, and shooting arrows, is you have to aim like a little bit ahead of whatever your target is if they're moving. So I can see how that might confuse people if they're not used to performing those kinds of actions, I suppose. So yeah, if you're out there and you thought that was kind of confusing, then I guess just watch a little closely over those parts of my gameplay and like see kind of when I'm aiming, like how soon I am doing it, and that will probably help you with that. I find these seals kind of amusing. Like, they keep breaking and then we keep doing it and they get more and more elaborate each time. I like it. It feels vindicating. It's a cool graphic and stuff. Link's little like thing before he stabs it into the ground is cool. But anyways, I just think it's kind of amusing though. If your seal doesn't work, just make it more elaborate. Put some flair on it, bedazzle that stone, make all your other classmates jealous, you know? That's what'll solve the problem. Works every time. So by the way, something I've been meaning to point out for a little while now is on the walls of the pit here in the sealed grounds, there is actually some pictures on the wall that are imposed on there, and these images are the same ones that we saw in the prologue of this game. So before you ever like opened up your save file or whatever, then you could actually just wait on that title screen for a while, and this movie would play eventually, where it talks about the origin of Skyloft and where the Triforce came from or whatever. Or yeah, the origin of the goddess and the Triforce and all this stuff, which is like foreshadowing of some of the events that and explain some of the background of what happens in this game. But yeah, the images that are seen in that prologue are on the walls of the cavern here, and I think it's really cool. Also, I guess along those same lines, they're chronologically in order, going from the bottom of the pit going up, and I think that's kind of cool too. Alright, so at this point, Granny finally explains why we can't use the bird statues throughout Faron, and she says that it's all filled with water, and she doesn't know what's going on. So what she did is she blocked off the doorway that is leading behind the temple to the rest of Faron. So she put up some kind of seal or whatever, so it keeps the flooded water from entering our area. So she's not sure actually how to get to the other area, because if she breaks that seal, then the whole temple will flood, and that would be bad. You know, we need Zelda to be alive. So instead, she's going to recommend that you find some other way of getting out there, and Groose has a suggestion, so he wants you to meet him outside. So at this point, if you head outside, you can speak with Groose, and he will launch you using the Groosinator into the other area of Faron, so we can get into that flooded zone. Now, this is all great, however, something to know is that you might want an air potion before you go do all that stuff, and you can either do it right now, or you can do it in a little bit, or you can just skip it entirely, whatever you want to do. If you want to go to the sky, you can't use the bird statue that is inside the temple, but you can use the one that is out here in the sealed grounds, or you can also take the log shortcut that leads to that little cave out here that we pushed down way early in the game. A lot of people probably didn't do that, but I recommended that you do it. And one of the reasons is for this, so that you can climb up on top of it to get to the behind the temple bird statue. Anyways, that's also in case you just don't want to do the swimming section right now, but yeah, getting an air potion would help a lot. So for the 25-year anniversary of Zelda, Nintendo released Skyward Sword along with a bunch of other merchandise and like soundtracks and stuff like that. It was actually pretty sweet. They really went all out for it, and they did a really good job. You know, for all the Zelda games, they're always kind of re-envisioning previous gameplay mechanics or like expanding on something they've done before. And for Skyward Sword, I think they did this like pretty intensely, and they did a really good job, and it's very impressive. So I will say it's just very interesting how they decided to do this. You know, here we have the entire Faron region is flooded, which is in itself kind of ambitious and interesting. But, you know, it just makes me think, like, you know, they keep getting more intense from game to game. So here we have the entire region is now flooded. Basically, the entire area of Faron is now a water temple. No! Once that finally sinks in, the horror. I see right through your adorable facade, Tatones. I know exactly what's going on here. You can optionally speak with a Kikwi here, and Bucha in particular has a clue about where we need to go next. He explains that the water started gushing out of the base of the Great Tree, so that is where we need to go to find the source of the water. So swim down to the base of the Great Tree, and you can swim normally by just holding A and just tilting around with the analog stick, or the Wiimote, but you can also shake your nunchuck to spin through the water and move a little bit faster. Now, the unfortunate thing about this is it does consume more air overall to spin like that. However, something worth noting about that is you consume significantly more air by spinning if you are in hero mode. So you consume more air in general when swimming in hero mode, but spinning in particular is just really, really expensive. I'm not sure on the exact amount. It's like double or 1.5 times the amount or something like that, but it's pretty rough. So if you are playing in hero mode, I don't even know if you have enough air to even go to the base of the Great Tree. If you do spin, you pretty much have to not spin in order to make it. Collect air bubbles along the way to replenish your air, and then you can optionally speak with Pirellas along the way, although they don't really say anything super interesting. In particular, one of them says that this area has been flooded by the Water Dragon. So all you need to do is work your way to the very top where there is some land that you can get onto. It is a little bit awkward trying to jump up onto it, so you might just want to climb up normally. So what we need to do is just stand in the middle of the landmass here at the top of the Great Tree. Well, not the top of the Great Tree, the inside of the Great Tree, I should say. and I'm wearing a dress now. That's how you know I'm getting strong. When you upgrade enough where you can wear a dress, it's a kilt. Yes, it's very manly. Speaking of which, there's a guy I know who lived in Scotland or something for a while, so he owns several kilts. Not necessarily what you'd expect. They're like kind of like jeans material, and he has a whole bunch of pockets and stuff in it, so he actually uses it when he works and stuff. He does construction. Has like a hammer slung through it and stuff. It's like, it's comfy. Anybody who disagrees is just not secure. Nothing says like construction like a kilt. Yes. That's right.